Hi there. My name's Tim Perkins. I'm joined by my business partner, co-founder Jeremy Beament. Delighted to be running the latest in our nudgecast series. The nudgecast is something we've been doing on and off for a few months now, but I guess in light of the current situation we find ourselves in with COVID-19, there's a special focus for this particular session about looking at the current situation through the lens of reward, employee benefits. So Jeremy and I have known each other and worked together now for 18 years, and we've seen lots of ups and downs over that time. So thinking about pension simplification back at the beginning of our career together, a critical life scandal, the retail distribution review, the 2008 financial crisis, Brexit. And so it's been really interesting, albeit obviously quite challenging, watching the world unfold as it has in the last couple of weeks, but keeping that core default lens of employee benefits. I think what's clear is your people are going to need you more than ever before. And so now is the time to really put your well-being strategy into action. And that was really brought home to me last week. So there's a big client that we are looking to launch with Nudge in about a month's time. And we got quite a panicked call from them last week saying, we really need your help now. We can't afford to wait and launch this in a month's time. We need Nudge out to our people as soon as possible, which was really interesting to hear. And I guess for me, emphasised the severity of the situation we're in and the fact that this health crisis has become a financial crisis. So thought we'd just have a quick chat, Jeremy and I, and talk through, from a personal finance perspective, some of the updates that have been happening of late, and some of the support that we've been providing to our clients. And if you subscribe through the appropriate channels, the type of content that you were able to provide to your employees over the next few weeks and months. Anything to add there?
Yes, so I think the point that you made about it being turning into a financial crisis was really well made. So what looks likely to happen? So bearing in mind that at the end of 2008, the UK government's debt increased by a couple of £100 billion. It looks likely as a consequence of what we're going through at the moment, that an additional £750 billion are going to be added onto our debt. So if we think about the financial consequences that the 2008 financial crisis had, this is going to be bigger, and your people are going to be impacted for years to come, unfortunately. So giving them any support that you can around their well-being, be it their physical and mental health, but also importantly their financial well-being and financial resilience is going to be critical.
Okay, great. So, Jed, I know through our Nudgeonomics, we have a pretty honest view of the world by tracking how people are using the Nudge service. What have been some of the hot topics over the last week or so?
Yeah, so ignoring the 24-hour news cycle, the actual content that people have been looking at over the last week, we've picked out the top 4 areas, which we were just going to talk you through. So number 1 was around what the interest rate cut means for your people. So the average person who has a mortgage is going to have an extra £350 a month in their bank account. So this creates opportunities. So the opportunity to budget better, to be able to reduce some of that troublesome debt that people have been in. So if they are going to maintain their current salaries, they're probably going to be spending less. And as a consequence, this is that actual opportunity to definitely not get into more debt, but to be able to start controlling any existing debt they have by starting to pay it off. And also, importantly, creating a savings buffer. So I remember when reports were coming out last year that the average person only has about £150 in emergency savings. And at the time, I remember people saying, "Oh wow, isn't that interesting? Isn't that terrible?" No one actually did anything about it. There was no actual urgency to create any movement around that. And then, like they always do, the crisis comes out of the blue, and just when people need these things, you wish you'd taken action earlier on. So again, hopefully an opportunity that will come out of this is that people will genuinely change their behaviours in the future. Second key area was around avoiding scams. So there's been an exponential increase in uh, phishing attacks. So that's spelled Phishing, which are basically email attacks trying to get you to do stuff, but also vishing, starting with a V, which are voice scams where people are basically calling you up. So they're pretending to be your bank, they're pretending to be HMRC. In some cases, we're seeing they're actually also pretending to be your employer, and they're asking for information. So asking for a national insurance number, asking you to transfer to a safe account, and so forth. There are a few things that people can do to avoid these. So they can make sure that you check the email address and web address, because if it's claiming to be from a bank, for example, what you'll actually find is the email address normally isn't real. It doesn't say from at barclays.com, for example. It will come from another source. Never click links from dodgy emails. Do not give away personal information either over the phone or via email. Always check if it's an investment company or so forth that they're on the FCA register. And then something else to look out for is the rise in something called farming, again spelled PHARMING. And this is where through you go to a website, but just at the point that you are being redirected to it, you're sent to a plausible looking but fake website. So always make sure that you're looking at the website address and the fact that it has the padlock and so forth. The third key area was that people are looking at are what support your banks are offering. So there's quite a lot of stuff that they're doing. So for some people who are struggling, they're offering mortgage holidays of up to 3 months. They're also waiving fees on credit cards for payments that are missed. And also, interestingly, I thought providing or allowing access to people to their savings that are locked away. So what often happens is in return for a higher rate of interest, you've basically said, yeah, you can keep my money for 2 years, for example, and I'm not able to access it. And they're actually waiving those periods so people can get them. And then the fourth key area, which I know is a real passion of yours, Tim, is around the support from the government. And that's what people are looking at. So even before this crisis, there was 7 billion of unused allowances. And Tim, maybe talk through some of those.
Yeah, as you say, this is something that yeah, really really drives me in terms of a lot of support that I'm giving people. You know, this is free money. Money is so hard to come by. Any option to get free money, you know, needs to be taken very seriously. But it's amazing how many people don't. So whether it's marriage allowance, so it's worth over £200 a year, yet 70% of people who are eligible for it aren't claiming it. Free wills month. Um, Older people looking after children, perhaps they're not paid for it, but they can still get national insurance contribution credit, which can boost their state pension. So I think layered on top of that, there's all of the new giveaways and initiatives that the government have announced over the last couple of weeks. Um, you know, there's free money here, but your people need a trusted channel to be able to really understand this stuff, you know, rather than falling to some of those scams that you talked about earlier, Jed. So I think anything that you can do as an organization to understand these free allowances and then provide the environment where your people in turn can learn, provides an immediate boost to people's bank accounts or the bottom right hand corner of their pay slips, as well as some of the longer term benefits through boosting their pensions and so forth. So yeah, really good topical updates there. Thanks for that, Jed. So I think to wrap up then, I think from my perspective, and it'd be useful to get yours in a moment, Jed, but from my perspective, there's never been a more important time for well-being than now. And I guess this demonstrates just how, financial well-being and physical well-being and mental well-being, all relates and work together. Um, I believe, though, that it's about helping people help themselves. Yes, there's some things that you can do for people automatically, but a lot of this, whether that's getting people to understand their allowances, whether that's getting people to create a savings buffer or prioritize their debts, that ultimately comes down to people having the skills and knowledge and the confidence to manage their money. Particularly if they've got more time, which a lot of people will have at the moment because they're not commuting and what have you. That seems to be a key focus. Um, very aware though of the people looking to profiteer at times like this. So whether that is introducing get rich quick schemes or all sorts of other kind of phishing and farming scams. So yeah, that's something to people to be very aware of and wary of as well. So I don't know if there's anything you'd add there, Jed, as a wrap up.
Yeah, so probably out of the kind of immediate kind of panic zone that we're obviously in at the moment, there are going to be some big challenges for employers in the medium term around things like making sure that all of that hard work of auto-enrolling people into pension, that as a consequence of, if they look at their statement, they've lost 30% of the value of their pension, that people aren't going to be opting out. So it's that kind of big, again, recommunication of pensions, which is really one of those jobs, a bit like the Forth Road Bridge, isn't it? That you think you've started to crack it, and actually that you need to go right back to the start and explain to people those kind of basics. On that point about profiteering, sadly, there will probably be organisations who are looking to profiteer through the employee benefits market as well. So make sure that you're very, very aware of the business models of the organisations that you're working with.
Well, yeah, thanks. Good to chat to you again, Jed, albeit over Zoom. Feels strange not having seen you for the last couple of weeks, having seen each other lots over the last 18 years. But yeah, it'd be great to share this content with our community and beyond, and have the opportunity to support people at this hugely critical time.
And can I just say, bearing in mind we have 6 children between us who are being homeschooled at the moment, it's an absolute miracle that we've hidden ourselves away to the point that we haven't had anyone come in shouting. So high five to that.
Yeah, I can hear people running up the stairs now as we speak. So yeah, better call it a day.